Hi, I'm Brian Connors. I'm a certified financial planner. I've been in the business for over 34 years. What we do primarily that I think is different is that we help people build sustainable lifestyles. And most importantly, it's a sustainable retirement, which is critical for people once they shift from an active working career to a point in time where they're going to be living off the assets and the income sources that they've created over their lifetime. And that's a delicate transition for many people because for many years they were actually having an income and they saved, but they may have saved on a regular basis, but maybe they didn't. And then suddenly they come down the pike to this magic age where they're going to retire, and then it gets real. Till then, it was just about accumulating assets, theoretically, hopefully saving, and doing the things that were necessary to get to where they were so they could retire. But then they're going to shift quickly to this period of life where they're going to maybe live another potentially 30 years, and they're going to be kind of living on a fixed income that may be sustainable, maybe not. And there's a lot of risks in any type of situation you're in life as far as how do you generate a sufficient income to meet your cash needs and to pay your bills. But there's also the complexities of when do you take certain types of income, for example, Social Security, pensions, how do you distribute money out of your retirement accounts and these kind of things. So our focus is two things. One is to help people sustainably build and accumulate wealth during their productive years, and then help them define a strategy to have a sustainable lifestyle during their retirement years. So one is wealth accumulation, one is income distribution, and we think we do a pretty good job at that because we, as financial planners, look at everybody's scenario holistically, and we try to gather the data to analyze, to come up with appropriate alternatives that might make sense for them. They can choose, they're the final decision maker, as to how they might attack a particular set of goals or problems that they're looking at. And we do the analysis, and we can statistically test those assumptions and the analysis as to what we call how sustainable it'll be. Our typical client is a little bit more of a complex, has a little bit more assets. They obviously have probably done pretty well in life, but they have the same kind of issues that anybody does that are still there for everybody. Risk, what's a reasonable return that they should be shooting for or trying to target their portfolios for. They have lifestyle issues of health and family and other considerations that are important to them that they need to plan for. And how do they address their legacy of their children, their wife, their spouse, and how do they live a life that I consider to be more of peace of mind, financial peace of mind, as opposed to a life that is driven by fear of the unknown and the future. And I think we try to provide that ability for them to get to a comfortable place, that they feel that the plan is properly done, so it gives them confidence that it can deliver on what they're hoping to do. And I think that's an amazing amount of stress relief that is hard to judge and value. But the clients that have worked with us, I think they see that value because most of them have been working with us for more than 15 years. And we want to see their success, and we are a part of that success. And we've worked with them prior to children, during children, and now post-children. So, it's a really wonderful career where you can work with a group of people and work with them through their entire lifespan in a way that you could be a part of their home and their family and helping them make critical decisions that not only affects them personally, but affects their family, their wife, their spouse, their children, and seeing their children go to college. And then also see them get to a place in life that they earned through their hard work, that they now can go and live a life in dignity, without fear, and have fun and enjoy it while they can. What I think sets us apart from other financial advisors is there's many competent financial professionals out there. But what sets us apart is that our clients are our business. In other words, I have had to earn the trust of my clients and in fact had to actually acquire those clients myself. And that is a special situation where each and every client is unique and special to us and is almost kind of part of our family. And as such, we take it personally that we hope that we can do and deliver on their expectations, and that we go the extra step to learn more about them, about what they care about, and through that process, we now get to know them at a level that is probably number one or number two to their spouse in terms of their family, their marriage, maybe their doctor, and then right behind that is us. And that's a very special place to be. And we care about that. That's important. It's the value of our business as our clients. It's not like a client is just a number to us. So what do we do that's probably really unique about how we handle that is that we actually do full comprehensive financial planning, which is a subset of a wealth management process. And that analysis is like a doctor that is taking tests on people and exploring their client's health history to really determine what are their risks and what is it that they need to live a healthy lifestyle, and to work with them on those issues. So we actually do the planning. We do full retirement planning, tax planning, estate planning, all the different critical areas of someone's financial life, including their business. And we see how we can use those various different sources of income, whether it's from their business, their job, and then eventually it'll come from other sources like Social Security and maybe a pension. But we try to see what we can do to make that hopefully a growing wealth nest egg that can be used to turn into a cash flow stream that they can then eventually live off. And it's a little bit of an art. It's a little bit about science, but it is about taking a different approach to the problem. It's not just about slinging darts at a wall, buying stocks and bonds. It's not about just buying insurance to cover your, health risks or your, life risks. It's about looking at the thing in a holistic way and saying, what's the best thing we could do with the resources they have? How do we save them and mitigate taxation when we can? And then how do we work with them as an individual or individuals to work within their risk tolerance, which everybody is unique. And a lot of people ask me, well, what should I do? This is kind of my situation, and, what would you recommend? And you say, there is a cookie cutter maybe answer to that question, but the real answer is in the details. It's in the little things that we uncover, that we determine, that have really an importance in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. And so out of that, it's really developed into a remarkable business of working with some really amazing people and to be part of that. And so I look at my job, in so many ways that I'm just really fortunate that I had the opportunity to be working with a family for 15 years or more, which is our typical average client length of time we work with them. But most important, we care, and we want to see them succeed. And we have no reason to do anything that might be in conflict with that, which is another difference. We really try to do whatever we can to, one, if there is a conflict, let's deal with it. Let's understand what that could be and reduce those conflicts. And one of them is the typical transaction cost of doing business. So we look at those things and try to reduce those as best we can. We try to work on a fee basis as best as possible, and in most of our cases that's the case. But we're also doing things that try to give our clients the full opportunity set of things that they can do, not just one single solution from a specific product provider. Some companies have proprietary products. We do not. We basically provide quality financial advice. And the focus of that is on delivering measurable results and hopefully giving some predictability to those results so people can feel self-assured that they're going to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. So the benefits of working with us versus doing it yourself, which is very possible today. Technology has enabled many people to open up a brokerage account with a firm, and some companies where there's actually no trading cost. So it's got a great appeal. The challenge is that most people have not been properly trained in investing, financial, and other related topics as it relates to accumulating wealth. And so they sometimes take too much risk. They look at the markets as a casino, and it's all about the ability to talk to friends and family about your one-hit wonder that you hit. Many don't talk about the ones that they didn't do well. But they're working in a vacuum where they don't really have all the financial information sometimes that they think they do. The internet has created an abundance of opportunity for getting information. But has it led to necessarily better decisions for people? No. Because what people forget is that there's the value of seasoned judgment and advice that can hopefully avoid the one mistake or the one piece of information that you did not understand correctly and you made a bad decision. We see it all the time, by the way. I could go on to countless examples of that. For a lot of people, just the basics of how do I accumulate wealth seems self-evident. I mean, start putting your money in a savings account. But it's the intricacies of which places should the money be going for different needs and different things you're trying to accomplish. And also, what does taxes do to you in terms of your decision making? And what do you do when even a good investment plan goes awry? And markets do have down cycles. Economies do go into recession. We see it in every asset class. It's not only in the markets, it's in real estate. And I know there's a lot of people out there that go, well, I've never lost money in this thing, or I never lost money in this. The answer is once you step out of a savings account, there's some kind of risk. And even in a savings account, there's inflation risk. So it's what a lot of what we do, I think, which is number one, that helps people, is helping them get a grasp of what risks they were actually taking or not taking. And how do they set goals that are achievable, and how do they systemically go about accomplishing those goals? And that's what financial planning can do for you. It can give you a process to systemically achieve financial goals. In financial advice, there's a lot of moving parts as to what makes something successful or not, even if it's simple. And sometimes simple is better. But the point is that what we bring to the party is a comprehensive set of knowledge to help people work through different parts of wealth management. That's savings, retirement, taxation, and then potentially estate planning, business planning to maximize the value of the business, helping protect against life's risks and the things that we have to, go through in life. And so being cognizant of those different areas of someone's financial life is a set of knowledge that hopefully can spot an issue that we're blindsided. And I think that in summary to your answer to this question is, it's what we don't know most of the time is going to cause us the biggest financial loss. And we can see that through and through if we look back over the years of what we've gone through in terms of the dot-com bubble and the financial crisis. And now here we are in a new period coming out of a very difficult, challenging time with the pandemic. So I would encourage people, the value of advice is almost incalculable in terms of value. The value of no advice can be very costly. So if I were to suggest something for people, I would say always get good advice, even if you have to pay for it. Because that one piece of advice might be the difference between having a very successful financial future or something that could be a very life-threatening or even a life-changing situation which might affect your future permanently. what brings a prospective client to us? It could happen a couple of different ways. There's usually a concept called the movement of money. And whenever there's going to be a significant movement of dollars from some location to somewhere else, or the end of a career, or a switch of a job, or the sale of a home, or a relocation, that creates what we call a movement of money. And in that is sometimes the dawning on people that I don't think I really understand what could go right or wrong here, and maybe I should go get some financial advice. And that's actually a very positive thing. They actually have taken a moment to step back and say, before I do this, I'm going to consult with a professional to see if there's something I didn't quite understand in this. And believe me, we've seen a lot of things that have gone wrong because people have not properly, assumed what that could be. Somewhere along someone's life, and hopefully the younger the better, and they've got exposed to it. And I always try to say, help the young, help the new people, because there are some out there that really want to make something happen in their life. And the beauty of it is, if they get started early, life can work for them. Their life will be easier because they've created pathways where whatever limited savings they've had has opened up a new door for them. And a lot of people will say in life, I could have done this, I could have done this. And you go, why? And you understand the reason why is they weren't prepared. They didn't have a plan. That the opportunity was staring them in the face. All they had to have was this certain little bit of money, and they could have done it. And that becomes the seed to something bigger. And so money is one of the things where some very smart people like Einstein, and others had talked about the compounding of interest as one of the most important concepts to understand in life. And it is, because the compounding of money leads to more opportunity the more you accumulate. But if they can learn young enough about some tools that they can move forward and to accumulate some money, and a lot of times it's amazing how many people don't take advantage of even the stuff they can get for free. Example of a matching contribution with their employer on their 401k account. The statistics are alarming as to how people have just not taken advantage of what is the obvious. So that aha moment, I've seen it when I've taught seminars where they're listening, they're kind of getting a feel for how the process of how do you accumulate wealth, and then the light goes on and goes, you know what? I want to get on that track in my life because I do have goals. And I think a lot of people have goals, but there's no strategy to attain the goals. So the people that are doing it on their own, many are smart. In fact, we think sometimes the people that are most educated are our best clients because they kind of had a chance to kind of look at things on a broader level. But doing it by yourself has risk because you're listening into your own echo chamber. You're listening to your own biases. And one of the things sometimes you need is someone to say, that's not really accurate. That's a bias. That's your belief. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's right either. And so while there's a lot of people now getting involved in investing recently because of new opportunities to open up an investment account with a firm with low costs, which is wonderful. They're getting engaged in the process. That's really, you got to start somewhere. But I think that a growing percentage of them are now realizing, I really do want to get somebody that could guide me as to either how can I do better or how do I avoid losing this money? Because this money that I've accumulated, now I can actually do something with. I can buy a house. So what do we do to start a client engagement, essentially? What are the sequence of steps to becoming a client working with us? And step number one is kind of a meeting of the minds, which talks about what the goals are, what their issues and what their concerns are, what are the struggles, challenges that they might be having issues when trying to make a good decision on. And that's just a general, open-ended, complimentary consultation that we offer to any new client or prospect that might be interested in working with us. And so we're really trying to get kind of our arms around what are they really looking to do, who are they, and what is it that they value, what is their experience, pro and con, and what is the one or two key things that we could identify in that initial meeting that they would like to get some additional perspective on, financial advice potentially, and have some goals to try to see if they could see that through to getting an answer on that. So now we have potentially someone that, sees something that possibly we could deliver on to provide some value to that equation for them. Number two in that is explaining how we would go about doing that. And we describe what we call as our financial planning wealth management process, which is a comprehensive process from the beginning, which is acquiring a lot of the client's information, data on their sources of income, their assets, their liabilities, what taxes they have, what's their taxes look like, their estate plans look like. Do they have a will? Do they have a trust? Do they have other kinds of insurance? Who do they work for? Do they work for themselves? So we try to get all that information. So we actually do analyze that information. So that's a big difference about what we do that's maybe a little bit different or a little bit more comprehensive than some other people in the marketplace out there. So we'll get that information and then we'll start putting it into our systems to do some analysis on it. At that point, we'll come up with an engagement as to what they want us to do. And that'll be defined either in a financial planning agreement, engagement, or it will be getting into an investment process of some kind to invest some of their money. It might have been something where they were working for a company. Now they've either retired or they're going on to somewhere else, and they have legacy assets in their 401k. But also now they're trying to figure out what's their next step. And so we'll then take that information again and we'll start doing some financial analysis on that and working with them. And then once we get done with that and kind of have a chance to review it, we'll provide some recommendations as to some courses of action that they should take to solve what their investment goals are, financial goals. From that point, they can have a decision. Do they want to go ahead and implement that on themselves, which they can sometimes, or do they need some help in either the investment area, investing their monies in a very thoughtful way. Maybe they need something in terms of the insurance to cover life insurance, disability, long-term care. Maybe they need some overall financial advice to work through some other business decisions about how do they maximize the revenue or the income and the net income from their business, and maybe put some of that money in some type of retirement plan. Maybe they have to do something with their children in terms of how they're going to fund their education, or whatever those goals are. Maybe they want to buy a piece of real estate. Maybe they want to sell a business. These are kind of different kind of problems that might come up into the mix. Now, we may not be the final answer on all those things, but we have enough knowledge and background because of our training as certified financial planners. Most of us have some kind of tax background as well as business background to understand a little bit about different things. And then, in my case, I have a little bit of a legal background as well. So I cover enough of those key areas to give them, to basically do more than anything else, be an issue spotter sometimes and help identify where they might need some help and maybe getting another professional to solve that for them. Maybe it's whether it's tax or it's something in the legal arena, maybe about a business thing that they're trying to do. So once we get started on that, then we would work into the implementation phase, which is how do we work with them either by providing regular financial advice under contract, or maybe there's a pot of their money that's earmarked for retirement or something like that. They would like us to help that manage that piece of that money for them. And so we have another investment management process that's a subset of the wealth management process, where we would come up with a risk analysis, of their risk tolerance, what types of cash flows do they need, what type of target return do they need to meet their goals, either for retirement or for income distribution, and then how do we build a portfolio that'll do that for them, and how do we use the different types of, things that you could do with money, whether it's being to put into the markets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. Maybe it's something where they need a more predictable income stream. And so we can kind of go through those different kind of strategy options and figure out which might be the right combination. And then we would then provide a proposal, assuming the proposal met the goals and what they were looking for. Then we would implement the proposal. Our business model is more of a fee-based business model, where we don't really earn very much at all or virtually nothing on any kind of commissionable type of products. We can provide a solution there if it's the right fit, but if we're on a fee-based type of contract, we would, obviously credit that to their fee. So we're trying to put ourselves in a position that we have no conflict of interest or minimal conflicts of interest, or at least disclose what those conflicts of interest are about what we're doing and how we are going to handle their affairs and manage their money. And then once we get implemented, then we would have a review process, which is a quarterly review process, where we would then review with them. We'd provide some ancillary financial planning on other matters that might come up in that mix. It could be setting up some new retirement plans, and working through some other new concerns that have come up. So we actually then have an ongoing, continuing relationship with the client on a systematic fashion, quarterly reviews, annual reviews, and then we work through any kind of things that they might come up with in terms of anything that goes on in their family, in their career, with their parents, those kind of things that just come out with life, and help them work through those. Sometimes I consider myself a financial psychologist, where I'm trying to filter out, what is it really that they want versus what they say what they're asking me, and what is it about their situation and maybe their, profile, that there's something, or there's a risk there that they don't seem to be really totally embracing what that is, and how do we introduce that as something that they should be concerned about. And there's a lot of areas in that. As a lot of our clients now are getting into the retirement phase of their life, they're going to be moving down that chain of years, and they're going to be getting into new things that are going to be of major importance to them. One is their health and how they're going to provide for health care, but also long-term care. And what are they going to do about, planning for that? What is their plan? Do they have a plan? So we act in a lot of ways sometimes just to try to, see if we can see a little bit ahead of the curve of where they're going, and try to give them an idea of what the terrain looks like, or what they're going to be coming up against. And if there's something that's kind of, timely to do now, should they do it now, because they may lose the opportunity because of some kind of health risk or something later on in life, they won't be able to do it. So we try to provide those kind of things that we can give them some, hopefully an independent perspective that has, because of the nature of that we've seen possibly from another scenario, from another client, what worked and what didn't work. We can impart that knowledge onto them and try to help them make a better, more informed decision, bottom line. So people often ask, like, where do I find you? How come, how could I get in contact with someone like you that does what you do, whether it was me or maybe someone that does something similar to me? And that's a big struggle for a lot of people, because as much as everything seems to be online these days, it's really confusing out there as to who's doing what and what is their real business model. So the best way to find me is obviously if you have a business card, or you have my phone number, which is, I can give you, 949-271-6433 is my business number. I can also be reached by email at bconners, C-O-N-N-E-R-S, at npbfg.com. And I do have a website. So, and that'd be a really good resource for getting a better understanding of what services we provide, and what's our wealth management process. And that is at a website by the name of myfapro.com, myfapro.com. your future is you can create your own destiny. And the best thing about America is you have the opportunity to create something of what you decide you want to create and to achieve it. And unfortunately, though, somewhere that dream and the connection to what is also an important America about America's capitalism, that it takes money many times to accomplish what you want to do in terms of reaching your destiny. It doesn't have to be, but it's just that, the way the nature of our system, that accumulating assets and wealth provides more freedom. And, what I find in terms of what I hope and what I dream about for people and wish for people is that more people get a chance to have more freedom. Freedom to choose where they live, freedom to choose the career they want to work in, freedom to choose to educate their children where they want them to be educated. Have options to enjoy, the richness of what America offers, and not be slave to debt, which is unfortunately the exact opposite in which so many Americans have gotten trapped in. So financial education is really important to me, and any way I can provide more help and at least giving someone, and particularly young people. I just had some great chats with some people in recent weeks about, what to do and what's the things they should be focusing in on to try to make their life a more productive and fulfilling life. And that to me is really the fun part about what this business offers. I just wish that more people could have the benefits of what we offer, and that I would encourage them to seek out people that are trained in either being a certified financial planner or have a broader set of knowledge that they can give them good, what I called, hopefully more objective advice, and get started. Start working on your plan, because the future, you can create your future. You just got to get started. And it's never too late, by the way. So for many people out there, we always wonder, you kind of missed the boat. But, we're going to live a long life. There's a lot of years out there, and it's amazing what just a small little change can mean. By just being a little bit better prepared, you might have found something that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you were prepared to take advantage of it. When you don't work with advice, and that's not only financial advice, it could be legal advice or tax advice or getting advice from a banker, or when you're going to sell a property. We have some instances right now where we've seen some bad situations just trying to buy a house. Thinking that it should be pretty easy to do without any risk. There is risk in some cases. And people selling a house thinking that they can do it on their own, they might be missing out on the delicacies of what happens when you have two emotional people involved in a transaction. How do you deal with contingencies, and conditions? And the sad part about it is so many people have gotten the balance sheet, so to speak, wrong, where they don't have really money. They have debt. And they live their life in desperation because of debt. And so why do some people come? I think there's a little bit of a thing where an event, or maybe education. We really promote a lot of education, and we're trying to do more things in that arena to educate the millennial generation, because they've grown up in kind of this period of life and a period of American history where, we haven't had any real serious challenges in terms of wars of major significance where they had to personally go and go fight a war, or something beyond what maybe, normal situations for many. They grew up in a period, they didn't grow up in the Great Depression. Yes, many are now growing up through a period of the pandemic, and they're learning from that.